screen, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh. Ladies and gents, we are back with Drive to Survive, baby. F1, we are back. Season 1, episode 10. Well, we've got through a season of it already. Jesus Christ. It's great fun, guys. There's a great reaction from the Drive to Survive. I mean, I know that, wow, like Drive to Survive is very, very popular and stuff. And I hope I'm being useful and people are listening and watching. So listen, I'm so flattered and appreciative of you guys watching and listening. Thank you so much. And I love you all, honestly, seriously, because yeah, it's great fun. And I mean, I have to say, I'm not just sprouting off shit on here. The nice thing about it for me, actually, it's bringing all my memories back. So like, I'm taking a trip down memory lane here, I have to say, when I'm talking about Drive to Survive, because there's so many things that are true and scarily accurate when it comes to Drive to Survive. And I know I've said it loads before and like a broken record, I know, but it's true. It's true. So this one today, guys, season 1, episode 10, this is a good one. I think this is more sort of focusing in on the teammate part of this, right? They're doing a bit because, again, this is the last episode in season 1. So next we're going on to season 2, episode 1. So the thing for this episode is they're giving a bit of a highlights of the year as well. They're sort of having a look back on the crashes, the drama. I mean, there was a lot of drama in season 1, guys. Jesus. Like, if we just go through it here, right? I mean, they're showing off Grosjean and his crashes. He had... we even did an episode on this there recently. I think it was season 1, episode 8, where we focused in on Grosjean and Haas and what it's like for a driver to go through that horrible moment in your life. And every racing driver has this, guys. Every single racing driver that you see in Formula 1 Drive to Survive, or you see them on the TV right now when they're racing in Formula 1 2024, if you see them in karting, every single guy you've seen has had a moment where crashes have come in, he's having a bad patch, a rough patch, and, well, we all come out of it eventually, right? But it's just a matter of when. So even Grosjean this year, poor guy, he's a load of fucking crashes, Jesus, and just the damage on the car that they made. I mean, guys, there's some car crashes out there that you could be looking at £1 million, British pounds, to fix the fucking car. You could be looking at more. It just depends on how much damage, really, you know. But you're talking millions and millions of investment you need. So even if like a team would have a budget of, let's just throw out a figure here, 150 million. Let's say they had 150 million budget in a year. They have to account certain part of that money to crashes. And I'm not joking you, because, hey, you gotta fix the fucking car, right? You know? Now, I don't know the rules and ins and outs of that, and I've actually tried to find that, but I don't see much information on that. Where is there a bit of a wild card where they can get a little bit of pocket money put aside for crashes itself? Probably not. I'd say not. But I'll put it this way, guys. Whether it's included in your 150 or it's not, either way, these people are putting money away to the side to include crashes in a year. And that's what every racing driving team does, whether you're in karting all the way up to Formula 1. It's just part of the package. Because you could even have a Formula 1 driver or a racing driver in general, they could have never, let's say that this is not true, but let's say they never had a crash themselves, that they made a mistake, you'd still have some other guy coming along and hitting into them. So you can't avoid these crashes. It just doesn't fucking happen. So, okay, so let's keep this going. Where else do we have? So we're focusing in on Grosjean and his crashes, and we see a little bit of that footage. And then we see Max struggling a little bit, Max Verstappen. Now again, guys, this is Formula 1 Season 1 episode... Season 1 of Drive to Survive. So we're going back a few years here, you know. So again, Max was struggling a little bit, you know. He even in Monaco that year, he had, okay, every driver can have an off. Of course they can. But he just looked a little fucking unsettled throughout the year. And I would say mostly he was unsettled. Not that he was riding the car off, he was crashing all the time. No. It just wasn't comfortable right yet in Formula 1. And, you know, I think this is why it's a good season to watch, guys, because Season 1 just does show you that the birth of Verstappen into Formula 1. And you see Ricciardo, obviously his drama, and a couple of the incidents the two boys, Ricciardo and Verstappen, have during the year. And then we see Alonso, and Alonso at the moment is saying he's retiring. I mean, it's actually official at the end of Season 1, Episode 10. But we obviously know that Alonso comes back to Formula 1, so it didn't last very long. And Jesus, I can tell you guys, I know what that feeling is like. It's horrendous, because all of a sudden you're in the spotlight, you are the man, so to speak, and all of a sudden that's gone. No one gives a fuck anymore. And it's true. It's true. No one gives a shit at the end of the day. Everybody's focusing on their own stuff. But that's the nice thing too. Most people don't give a shit about the people that don't give a shit about you. Right? So, you know, that's just, but it's part of the parcel, part of the package. And there was a good part here when I talk about teammates here. Verstappen says, I won't miss Ricciardo at the end of this year. Well, of course he doesn't he's not going to miss him. He never did miss him. Yeah, you can have a laugh. You can have some banter with your teammates. And Lord knows I did too back in the days. You can have some great fun with your teammates. Like, seriously great fun. But then there's always that reality, what would you say, reminder, right? That, I mean, I remember there's been plenty of times there where, sorry, I just having some of my apple juice here. We get some really good fucking nice apple juice here in Ireland. And oh my God, it's just beautiful. Anyway, with teammates, you could, let's say, you could have a brilliant race weekend on a Sunday, because that's when most races are anyway, for whatever motorsport level. And you could all go out drinking that night, right? Because you may have a few weeks off until the next race, so you're going to go fucking mental that night. Everybody's in a great mood. But then, you know, like, you could be fucking around having a bit of banter with your teammate. All of a sudden then, you might have in your head, oh, what do the team think of that? Right? In other words, why is my teammate too happy? Why is he too confident? Is there something else going on here? Do you know? And all of a sudden you're looking at the team. People can get paranoid, and even Verstappen and Ricciardo, they did get on very well. You know, they did have some banter, in fairness. But even Verstappen says at the end, he's not going to miss him, and he's goddamn right not going to miss him. I mean, why would he? You go to war with your team and engineer, but you're going to war against your teammate. Now, yeah, the only difference here is that there's a rule, and it's an unwritten rule. Don't take your teammate off. Like, that's almost Bible for everybody. Don't take your teammate off, Peter or Johnny, Max, whoever the fuck. Because that just ends in nightmare. You've got sponsors to answer to. All of a sudden you get some two fucking hotheads on a track, two drivers, and they're taking each other off. The sponsors won't be along for very long, or they won't be around for very long, I can tell you that. So you've got to make sure that you you act nicely with your teammate. And some people don't get on, but hey, that's the way it can be as well. That's the way it can be. And then, okay, I want to talk about the Ocon and Verstappen. So many of you may or may not know. So that this year of Season 1, Episode 1, in that year, Verstappen is in the lead in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right? He's kicking ass. He overtakes Ocon. And they go through turn 1, the left-hander. Now, right after the left-hander, there's an immediate right. And you power on through that right-hander, and then you go onto that long straight down in Brazil. And what happened here is that Verstappen overtook Ocon. Ocon was a back marker. Now, a back marker basically means that you're a car that's way behind the field and you're getting overtaken. You're getting lapped. So Ocon is technically a fucking lap down on Max Verstappen. But the thing is, you are allowed to unlap yourself. This is in every motor racing level. You are allowed to unlap yourself. So, even I'm not a fan of Ocon, right? I'm a Verstappen fan, and even I'm going to bat for Ocon on this one. He did nothing wrong. So Verstappen was in the lead. He overtakes Ocon in the left-hander. Verstappen is a little bit ahead of him here. And as they're going into the right-hander then, Verstappen is still a little bit in the lead. Ahead of him, should I say. Obviously he's ahead and he's way ahead of him results-wise. But he's ahead of him now. The car is ahead. And he's on the left-hand side. Now, he gives a small, teeny, tiny fraction of room for Ocon to stay on the inside, on the right-hand side. It wasn't much, I can tell you that. But I do know this. Verstappen closed the door. Ocon did nothing wrong. And the two of them collide. Verstappen goes off. He finishes second in the race because he fucked himself. But Ocon obviously tried to stay on, and that was it. But Ocon had every right to go for it and unlap himself. And Verstappen just made a mistake. Look, I wouldn't say that it was Verstappen being a rookie and he's still trying to get the ropes on that move. Absolutely not. That could happen to anyone. It was a dumb move. He was asleep at the wheel. He should have said, look, hang on, easy. I've got a lot to lose here. I need to win this race. Ocon has fuck all to lose. So he could have definitely been more careful. No question. I think Verstappen, in his mind, he just went, oh, that's okay, I've got him, done. And then Ocon's going to let him have the track, and even if Ocon has to slow down, he'll slow down because he'll just, I'll let Max go off into the lead, piss off into the lead here. So, a racing incident? I wouldn't even say a racing incident. In fact, if anything, I would say it was Max's fault. It was Max's fault. He should have. This wasn't going for the lead. This was a back marker car, and there was no need to. He just could have given him a little bit of space here, you know. But look, that's what happens in racing. And now, then they do flash over and we see, and it is kind of funny actually, I have to say, Verstappen's all hot under the collar. He starts pushing, literally physically pushing Ocon in the pit garages afterwards when they're getting weighed. And now, you are thinking like, geez, you know, he's a bit fucking hot under the collar on that one, because it was Verstappen's fault. Then they flash over to Ricciardo and Verstappen talking about the Ocon incident. And then Verstappen says that actually he was laughing. He was laughing in my face, and that's why he started physically pushing him. Now, to be fair to Ocon, and you know what, and I've actually even said this on my podcast, Ocon is a fucking rat, right? That guy, he is trouble. That guy looks for people to get in trouble. However, I've said this before, but in this scenario, I don't know if he did it, because I don't see a smile on Ocon's face here. I see a smile on Ocon's face once Verstappen has pushed him a couple of times, yes. But that could have been a nervous laugh, like, hey man, what the fuck, are you joking me? What the fuck? And Ocon, in fairness, would be like, what? As in, wow, this is a laughable scenario. Are you kidding me? You're blaming me for your fuck up? Like, I could see why Ocon would have not on purpose laughed at him, but like, what? What are you on about, buddy? What the fuck are you? Is this a joke? I could see that, but I don't think... Maybe we're wrong here, by the way, because we don't see the full camera angle on this one. So if we don't see it, we can't just assume that Ocon was guilty here. That's not right. That's not fair. So innocent until proven guilty. And now, if he did laugh in his face, Verstappen is 100% right. He's dead right to get stuck in his face. Like, fuck you, buddy. You know? Even though it was still Verstappen's fault. You know? But, yeah. You don't laugh in the guy's face. If he did, but we're assuming he didn't. So, okay. Then we flash over to Abu Dhabi, because obviously it's the last race and they want to sort of close it off here at Abu Dhabi. And then you see Hülkenberg going into the wall with Grosjean. They have a crash. Hülkenberg's car goes on fire, upside down. Very scary moment for any racing driver in that scenario, because you are a fucking passenger here. There is literally nothing you can do except call or scream out to people around you, like the fire marshals or the team itself, like, hey guys, anybody around to save my ass here? I see fire. And Hülkenberg is saying on the radio he sees fire. Let me tell you, not good. Now, they've got extinguishers in the car, but still, you don't want to fucking be, you don't want to be getting involved in that situation at all. Now, Hülkenberg and Grosjean, they have kind of like a moment where the two boys, Verstappen and Ocon, had a bit of a collision. And we see Grosjean and Hülkenberg. Grosjean did nothing wrong there. He was in a, as even Brundle says, Grosjean had Hülkenberg in his blind spot, because a lot of people don't realize, guys, that this isn't like your road car where you can see everything in your side mirrors or your rear view mirror. Okay, you can't. You are extremely limited to a lot of air space around your car in the back. I mean, you can definitely, you've got to zoom in and you can see a car directly behind you. Hell yes. But you know, you can't see fucking everything either. There is one or two blind spots in every car. So for Grosjean there, nothing wrong. Hülkenberg just... would you even consider it was a racing incident? Maybe. But anyway, Grosjean didn't do anything wrong, and everybody is trying to fucking take pot shots off of Grosjean anyway, because he's had so many accidents. Christ. Now, here's an interesting one though. Alonso. Now remember, guys, this is in Abu Dhabi. This is Alonso's last race. He's retiring at the end of this. And his engineer comes on and he says, hey, look, buddy, Alonso, come on, man. We can finish in the top 10 here. Let's get a point. So the engineer wants him to finish in the top 10. Alonso comes on, and like, quite honestly, I was a bit disappointed with Alonso saying this. Alonso comes on and he says, I've collected over 1,800 points in Formula 1. And then the engineer goes, yeah, well, if you can get 1,801, that'd be great for me. As in, like, shut the fuck up, buddy. Will you do this for us, the team? Now, unless that was edited down, right, but it doesn't sound like it, because it's the context of it and everything. It doesn't sound like it was edited down and put in then as a replacement of something else he said. But if, Alonso's saying that to the engineer... Like, come on, Fernando, man. What the fuck? And I'm a big fan of Alonso, but that did make me think twice about him. Like, dude, the guy wants to end on a high note. Now, 10th is still a shit position to finish in, okay? Standards, yes. But look, the team is fucking struggling. So, for them, a 10th is okay. Now, like I always say, you shouldn't be jumping up and down for fucking joy here, finishing 10th, and smacking each other's ass with fucking champagne and all that. But, look, you could be pleased with that result. So for Alonso to say that, it's like, what, man? What are you talking about? Maybe he hated the team, and he was like, no, you know what? Fuck you, asshole. But then again, still, on a public place where he said that, not good. Jesus. Okay. Oh, man. Guys, this apple juice is fucking awesome. Jesus. Woo! Okay, what else do we have? So they were on about as well, Ricciardo and Verstappen. They're thinking in the race, oh well, Verstappen's the golden boy. Will Ricciardo get any of the attention here? Do they want Verstappen to beat him? Of course they did. Of course they did. And I'll tell you why they did this. They purposely brought in Verstappen first, okay? It's kind of a rule. The sooner you make your pit stop, the better. Now, that doesn't always work, but you'd always gear for that almost, okay? And then the sooner you bring in your driver before the other driver, well, then that's better. And it did work in Verstappen's favor here. So they're saying, oh yeah, well, they're obviously going to favor Verstappen now much more because, well, hey, Ricciardo, he's off to fucking Renault and this and that, you know? Well, I 100% agree here. Number one, you want to finish on a high note anyway. For the guy that's staying with you. You want to finish on a high note, number one. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to give shitty equipment to the other guy, as in Ricciardo in this circumstance, where, oh, fuck Ricciardo, man, he can go fuck himself. Now, unless it was like, and I mean, an out-of-this-world fucking toxic relationship, then okay, you could see that happen. But I don't think they had it that bad. Christian Horner took it very bad. Yes, he did. But in general, drivers leave. Drivers leave. Drivers change teams. Teams change the drivers. This shit happens all the time. So, look, you can't fault Ricciardo for saying, fuck this, man. You know what? I know Verstappen's their golden boy. I'm going elsewhere. And you have to respect that as a team. You know? What the fuck do you want me to do, Christian? Sit here and let Max... And I'll just... like, cheer on Max? Go fuck yourself. You know, that's what Ricciardo would be saying in his own head. And I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him at all. And I don't think Christian Horner blames him either. Do you know? He knows. He was a bit upset and hurt about it, yes. But he gets it. He knows Ricciardo wants to be the number one boy too, for Christ's sake. So, it's understandable. But look, at the end of the day, you're going to favour Verstappen, who is staying with the team. Of course you are. You want to end the team with a good note at the end of the year. Especially the guy who's going to be, well, still around next year. So you want to end things on a good note, carry some momentum into the winter. And they had, what, I think it was 10-11 weeks break, and then jumping into the next year. So you want to... It does, and it's actually, do you know, guys, it can be such a small thing, ending on a high, even though you didn't win the championship, and they didn't, but it can mean a lot. Good ending, we're going to go back, we're going to test the next car, we're going to get that ready for next year, we're ready to go. That's the way they'd be looking at that. So, 100%, I agree with Red Bull. You look after your boy Verstappen here, okay? And, right, let's have a look. What else do we have? Now, it was interesting at the end here, Christian Horner again, where you got Cyril and Red Bull. So, for Christian here, this is the end of the Renault engines with Red Bull. They're not getting any more Renault engines. They're done. Christian Horner even said they just haven't delivered the proper engines for them. Now, how much so or not? We don't know all the ins and outs. Were they promised more? Weren't they promised more? You know, you just don't know. But they didn't get the results with those engines. And you see, the problem here is, for a lot of teams, guys, and this is the same in karting all the way up to Formula 1, you're going to be restricted on how much input you have with the engine. And Christian Horner was that. Now, Christian Horner knows this too, and he has to accept responsibility himself, because he knows this from day one. Now, can you try and work on something where you can get this into your contract where, look guys, can we get a certain amount of test days here at your factory, get the input, try certain things, this and that or whatever, and then bring that feedback home? Yes, maybe they could. But Renault have their own team. So Renault are going to be looking after their number one fucking team here, which is their own team. And you can't blame them either. And Christian Horner knows that too. But you can still see like Horner... It was an asshole comment that he said to Cyril. They're in the press conference at the end. And Horner goes, oh, well, I even remember when Cyril was making the tea here at the team. Like... What a dick. It is funny, like, just being on the outside of this, you know? Oh, God. Christian comes out with some fucking jabs, doesn't he? Jesus Christ. Oh, God. And then Christian, they're taking on the Honda engines. Now, if you are a Formula 1 team like Red Bull, you're not doomed that you get a Renault engine or a Mercedes or a Ferrari engine starting off with. You're not doomed. Like as in if you're not going to get some input and you just get handed what you get, it doesn't mean doom because you still have to work on the overall balance of the car. I've said this quite a few times in my Formula 1 previews of the races this year. And it is true because the overall balance is the chassis versus engine. So just because you've got the fastest engine down a straight, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the fastest car because the car still has to match up to the engine speed, especially if you're going through high-speed corners, okay? Let's say you did have the greatest engine that the world's ever seen, let's say. And through this high-speed corner, it can go 200 miles an hour. Now, everybody else doesn't have as good as an engine as you, but it can do 197. Now, 197 versus 200, maybe doesn't sound like much, but it's a fucking hell a lot of time when you're looking at lap times and motor racing. It can be the difference between fucking first and midfield. It can be that much. So your car might not be able to might not have the grip to match the car at 200 miles an hour through a corner, but it can at 197. There's a limit for all these things. So again, that's what we kind of talk about, the balance of the car. So Adrian Newey, the Red Bull wizard behind the curtain, I always call him, the aerodynamicist, Adrian would have been always working very closely to get the best handling and balance of that car. Of course he is. That's his goal. So Adrian Newey knows that. He doesn't have to rely on the engine. And good for them, because, I mean, you could have a slightly weaker aerodynamicist and he might be able to do the job Adrian Newey did. So again, that's why Adrian Newey is that good. Adrian Newey is that good. And yeah, guys, it's a great TV program. It really is. Before we close this off here now today, and we're moving on to Season 2, Episode 1 next. And just, again, another shout out, guys. I just want to make sure that everybody knows. In the year 2024, we're going to be talking about motor racing. Mostly, we're going to be talking about the actual Formula 1 races. We're going to do a build-up on the Friday of a Grand Prix weekend. And then on the Monday after the Grand Prix, we'll have a highlights show as well. So every Formula 1 weekend on the Friday of the Grand Prix, podcast is out on YouTube and Spotify and Apple, etc. And then on the Monday, we're doing the highlights. And if we're not doing a highlights show or a preview show on a Grand Prix weekend, every Monday and Friday, we're going to come out with Formula 1 Drive to Survive. Until we get through, of course, all of them, and then we're going to go on to other stuff in motor racing. But Monday and Fridays, all about motor racing, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays is the normal stuff we talk about, all the dating, health and wellness, like vitamins and this and that, and just general shit talk chat. So, yeah, guys, that's Formula 1 Drive to Survive. We're a wrap on Season 1, and Season 2 is coming up next. And by the way, guys, Drive to Survive only gets better from here on in. So I hope you've enjoyed the episodes, and we'll definitely be back with a lot more. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.